We've never seen this signal on the Bitcoin chart before. What does it mean for Bitcoin price? Hey guys, it's Keith Allen. Yeah, this is something I have not seen before. I've actually looked through a lot of history. Hey, maybe I overlooked something, but I don't think I did. Even if it had only appeared, once before, it's pretty rare. I don't think we've seen anything specifically like this ever, to be honest with you. And I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about here in just a minute. If you are new to the stream, welcome, my friends. My name is Keith Allen. I'm a work from home dad. I am a full-time trader. I'm also a co-founder of Material Indicators. And today we're going to look at this very unique phenomenon, a divergence between some key indicators that I've seen divergences before, but I haven't seen them this close together before. So we're going to take a look at that and see if we can determine what it means. I mean, when you're working with something that has never happened, there's no historical data to go off of, right? So we're going to speculate a little bit, but I think that there's enough data here to actually piece some insights together that I believe makes sense. So I'll let you decide if it makes sense to you. As always, our live chat is open. If you'd like to join me, I would love to have you. I always enjoy engaging with you guys. If you have questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If you have insights, by all means, please share them. We always enjoy sharing those insights with each other, and it really helps improve the quality of the content. Makes it something you guys are more interested in. So by all means, join me if you will. While we're at it, before we dive all the way in, do me a favor, smash some buttons, help me grow this channel. Hit that like, hit that share, bring some of your friends and your fellow community members into the mix here so that they can gain some of these insights as well. And you can help me grow the channel in the process. Just kind of, I do these for free on my own time and on my own dime. So this is just your way of kind of paying me back indirectly by helping me grow the channel. I really do appreciate that. And for you OGs, I always appreciate that continued support. So thank you so much as well. Let's go ahead and climb into the charts, and I will show you exactly what I'm talking about. We haven't pulled up this chart in quite some time, and so I felt this was a good opportunity to pull up my trusty old Death Cross and Golden Cross chart. And on this, you will see that we have some signals that are developing, right? Haven't happened yet, but looks like they are imminent. And the timing and the of these two, which are which are divergent signals, by the way, I've just not seen them this close before. If you look here we're on the daily time frame of the Bitcoin chart, and if you look up top, you can see that we have really looks like a death cross between the green 21-day moving average and the red 50-day moving average are absolutely imminent. We've been testing this 50-day moving average now. We're on the third test of that in 3 consecutive days. We've actually tested it a fourth time about a week ago. And so the fact that we keep wicking below this is a sign of weakness to me. And even though these are indeed lagging indicators, I think this is a sign that we are going to see a continued breakdown in price in the near term. Now, these are relatively short-term indicators here, right? It's the 21-day moving average and the 50-day moving average. Conversely to that, down here, way down here, we have what looks like an imminent golden cross between the blue 100-day moving average and the purple 200-day moving average. So again, these are lagging indicators. What you would expect to happen is as this death cross occurs, we would expect the downward momentum to continue a bit. Maybe there's a day or two of spike up because that just, is kind of one of the algo anomalies of these things in this day and age. But shortly after, probably within another week, 2 max, we could see this golden cross. And that, in my opinion, I personally think that the longer term signals, longer term moving averages, I think those will dominate the macro, right? So sure, we could see some downside volatility, but I think ultimately it will correct itself and head back upward. So what does that mean in the near term? It means, uh, in very simple terms, that this is going to confuse a lot of people. It's going to trigger a lot of algos. There is likely to be more selling before we have an actual bottom. Now, there are some signs that we're close to the bottom. Um, the fact that we have been hovering in this range to me is a good thing. I've been saying for a long time that I wanted to see consolidation above the 100K level for a long time, and we haven't seen that yet. So um, maybe getting a little ahead of myself here. I want to talk more about these, the history of this, right? Because this isn't something that I just came up with haphazardly, right? So this is a chart that I have been working on over a long period of time and adding. I don't know that I have every single death cross and golden cross in here. I don't, but I do have a lot of them, most of them. And the situation that we're looking for here, and the one that we're trying to duplicate and look for other instances of, is where the green and red, the 21 and the 50-day moving averages, death cross, very close to when the blue 100 and purple 200-day moving averages, golden cross. And if we look through history, there's only been a couple of times where that's ever happened, and I don't think that any of them have happened in this close proximity to each other. And that's what really makes this unique to me. So if we look through history, there's just not a lot of instances of that happening at all. One would be way back here in 2020. This was after COVID, when price bottomed out on the COVID crash. We started to see a recovery and then a breakdown in kind of a consolidation form before things really took off for Bitcoin. And what happened here is we saw a death cross. The golden cross actually occurred before the death cross. The golden cross on the higher time frame occurred before the death cross on the lower time frames. That doesn't appear to be the situation here. It appears to me that it's going to be the other way around. Nonetheless, this consolidated for a little while longer before resolving itself to the upside. Another instance, similar but not exactly the same. What do we have here? Is this one of them? In this scenario, this was back in 2014. We had a death cross between the green 21 and the red 50 right here. And shortly after that, we saw a golden cross between the blue 21, the blue 100 and the purple 200. Okay, so this might be similar to what we have developing now. This led to an eventual double bottom on the chart at that point, but this was clearly bearish territory, because note that all of the other moving averages were also crossed. Right, on the tail end of this, after this golden cross, we did have more death crosses between the moving averages. So that's why things broke down. And then ultimately this golden cross went back to death cross, and that was really a confirmation of a bear market. So similar but not exactly the same. And the reason it's not exactly the same is because the other moving averages are not wound in the same way, I don't think, as these are. Right. So if we take it all the way back to the front, to where we sit now, let me see if I can get here faster. Guess not. We don't have the same situation. Wow, did I scroll all the way that far back that fast? Geez. Let's just take it this way and I can get here faster. All right. So you can see our weekly moving averages are all unwound and looking good. If we took this to the daily, again, we just have this crossing between these higher time frame moving averages. Nothing else is crossed yet. So to get into the scenario like I just showed you that took us into bear market, we would need to see these other moving averages winding up, death crossing, and that's not currently in the scenario. This is the 21 is actually leveling off a little bit, so this could be a very shallow cross here, and it could resolve itself quickly, especially um, after this golden cross occurs. So again, not exactly the same as the current scenario. Again, let's see if I have any others. That one we just looked at, and then down here, this goes all the way back to 2012. We had a death cross between the green 21 and the red 50. And this also death crossed the 200 and the 100, right? So again, not exactly the same scenario as here, but it was shortly thereafter that things bottomed out and we started to see the golden cross develop here between the blue 100 and the purple 200. And that was really an indication that the bottom was in, and we started to see things develop to the upside. So we have to watch how things develop, obviously, over time. But this to me is a scenario we've not seen before, and it's one that I think is worth keeping a very, very close eye on. So what does this mean in the short term? I think, again, that we're going to see price erode a bit. And if that happens, where do we go from here? Well, I'll address that in a second. Let's see, we got Alex in the mix. What do you think about BTC dominance? Will it continue increasing? I'll get to that. That's a great question, Alex. I'll get to that in a second. And let's see, take that one out. And Hasib says a new all-time high. Well, eventually, yes. After this golden cross, we could, this could signal a bottom here after that happens. But I think this is going to maybe push things down a little bit lower. Where could it go? Let's go back to this chart to get an illustration of where price can go from here. In my opinion, the levels that we've been watching are really unchanged. We have our 2025 open down here in the mid 93s, which is kind of my line in the sand here on the daily time frame. I think that we could find a support test here, and these are moving averages, right? So right now this sits at nearly 96. We have some liquidity up a little bit higher in the 97, 98K range that I think may come into play. And this is new, by the way. Looking at fire charts, this little block of bid liquidity that appeared, it's not a lot, by the way. It was we already had, 6.5 million here, and another basically 6.5 million showed up to add support here. Price did rebound as soon as this appeared, but I'll be honest with you, I don't trust this. I think this will spoof if it gets approached. And I think that things could break down further. Let's zoom out a little bit, see if we can get a little bit more bearing. So similar set of, and by the way, look at this. You have kind of correlated ask liquidity right down here. So, hey, maybe these guys do get filled and they try and pump it up here and just play this range here, very tight range, playing a tight game, by the way. And so I think it's, I read a post the other day that said shorting in this market is like trying to pick up pennies in front of a steamroller. And that may be the case because I don't think there's a ton of downside potential here. I think that those key levels that we talk about are very important to keep mindful here. And I think that as a trader or as an investor, you need to look at the levels that you think look like a good price, look like a good entry, and probably dollar cost average, which is what I've been doing. I've been dollar cost averaging since 2022, since the FTX crash in 2022, to build my position. And I'm trying to, with the limited capital I have left, with the limited powder that I have left, I'm trying to add to my position, but do so very strategically. And I'll tell you, it's been difficult to try and snipe them perfectly. I'm getting my best entries, to be honest with you, using the MTF mean reversion indicator, and that's helped me um, find the dips with the highest probability of bouncing. And so I do this. I use this, and I use this with small entries because I can get a lot of them. You could see you could get multiple entries in just a matter of minutes. So I don't go huge on these bots. I take small entries and I dollar cost average them. But I do also take manual scalps or manual entries. Um, and so trying to do it manually, I'll be honest with you, the algo has been uh, beating me in terms of my manual decision making. Let's see. NF, I don't know what your comment is insinuating, and I'm not going to share it. How about that? Well, let's just drop on what's going on. Well, maybe if you joined me earlier, you might have heard what's going on is we have a divergence forming between key moving averages. We have a death cross about to form between the 21 and the 50, and a golden cross about to form between the 100 and the 200. And I think that ultimately this will prevail. However, before that happens, I think price dips. And where I think price goes, which is what I was getting at, is to these key levels, right? We know that we have a RS flip at 100K that we're trying to validate here, right? And that had not happened previously. So a retest of support at 100K to me would just be amazing. If price could hold at 100K, that would be incredible. The problem is, I don't know that it will. We have a trend line right very close to that. At this point, it's only $1,000 below, and these moving averages kind of wedged between the 2025 open down at 93.3 and the trend line. So I honestly think that price could conceivably go all the way back to the open. And if that happened, it would invalidate the RS flip at 100K. So this is the first spot I would look at, right? 100K, could we validate the RS flip? If price holds, then we do validate the RS flip. We likely get this golden cross around that time, and then we see things resolve to the upside. But really, if you keep in mind everything that's happening around the world, and especially this tension in the Middle East, and the fact that this whole tariff situation is supposed to also have some clarity here in the coming weeks, I think we had 90 days from that April 2nd, right? That first week of April announcement. And so that gets us to the first week of July for the bulk of those tariff deals supposed to be allegedly those deals should be made. Now, we don't have any indication that they are. So, the administration will kick the can down the road further if they have to, as they do with everything else. So because of that, more consolidation in this range. If that consolidation happens above 100K, that is just extremely, extremely bullish in my opinion. For this bull trend to stay intact, price needs to stay above the 2025 open when it's all said and done. I will take a look at the order book one more time. I had posted something earlier that we had these additions of liquidity come into the range like this here, but I just don't see the momentum. We saw a little bit of buying after this showed up, and I was looking to see if there was any news, like on a deal between Iran and the U.S. on trying to de-escalate this thing, but that doesn't appear to have happened yet. So I would just expect this consolidation to continue. I would expect these shakeouts to continue because this market is trying to shake out the paper hands. Yes, some people are distributing. Yes, some people are accumulating. But I would venture to say that based on all of the macro news that we're seeing, especially like the Genius Act passed the other day, we have these, the ETFs seem to be doing well, both the ETH and the BTC ETFs seem to be doing well. So those are all things that speak to the macro. Vala says, yes, 100K is strong. Hope it stays strong. That would be a perfect scenario to bounce off 100K. Yeah, we got that test. But I think you guys will all agree, if you've been in this game for more than 10 minutes, those perfect scenarios rarely ever present themselves, right? Like this market likes to overshoot the technicals, likes to shake out the algos, likes to shake out the weak hands. And so I would not be surprised if price did go a little bit lower. Alex asked about the Bitcoin dominance. I do have a chart up here on dominance. Where's that guy? Okay, so Bitcoin dominance, look at this. Bitcoin dominance just starting. Oh, this is actually Bitcoin price here. Bitcoin dominance is the lighter orange one here. And this total 3 ES. This is a new indicator I actually put up. I changed this from total 3 to total 3 ES, and I changed the USDT dominance to stable CD. So we're now including all stables in this, and we're also in this total 3, we're excluding Bitcoin, ETH, and stables out of this. So the fact that we're seeing a breakdown here, an indication that that alts could be entering capitulation territory. And we, in fact, have a metric on the MI dashboard that indicates that, this little blue hint of blue right here is an indication of capitulation. So we are seeing the alts start to, just a handful have started to bounce so far. But this is a correlation, 14-day rolling correlation to BTC for all alt pairs. And we are seeing signs of capitulation here. So you look for those select alts that you think might really perform well and find your targets, right? You're never going to know if it's the absolute bottom. You're just not. But find targets that look good to you. And those entries, if you're day trading and you're scalping, that's a different deal, right? You're gonna have to really watch and look for bounces so you don't get caught. Look for buying to begin so you don't get caught catching knives that don't bounce. Using something like the MTF mean reversion indicator that I shared with you, also good for that. But if you're taking a longer term position, a swing trade or a longer hold trade, then look for those entries that just look like good entries. Because if you keep waiting and waiting and waiting, you're just going to miss the move altogether. Let's see if I can load another metric: price returns and drawdowns. And this shows us that a lot of, I mentioned, potentially entering capitulation mode. Look at this drawdown, less than 10%. We now have 88% of alts have gone into major drawdown territory here, and less than 25% are in positive returns. So they're just the 25% that are in positive. So identify those alts that you've got interest in. And, you can look here. This metric is in the MI dashboard. Our Premium Plus customers are enjoying this. And you can see a handful. Kai up 51%. What's this guy here? Quick up 27%. Moving up. TST up 5.6. TWT, no. TUT up 18%. So you can find select coins that are rebounding here, and this is a sign that we just might be comp up almost 13%. So just a handful are starting to go into positive territory. Once they all go into positive territory, it's too late, right? So look for the coins that you're interested in, see how they're charting, find your entries, and make your decisions accordingly. Hope that gives you a little bit of insight on what's going on the alt fronts, and what is going on in terms of this signal that has never ever been seen before. This is, we're talking a death cross between the 21 and the 50, and a golden cross between the 100 and the 200 moving averages. These are daily moving averages. I'm using SMAs, and we've just never seen them this close together before, especially where the other moving averages are not wound up. So this would be a first first death cross of these moving averages in this range. But if this golden cross happens right after that, I think we're going to see price resolve. I think this would unwind after a relatively short amount of time. The wild cards are, of course, how the administration plays these geopolitical events happening around the world. Simple as that. Last note I will leave you with. Line in the sand right here, 2025 open. Okay. Any of these lines could serve as technical support. The perfect scenario would be to hold at 100K. But as you can see, the trend line is right below that at 99. That's subjective. Maybe it's 98 and change depending on how you draw it. Right. So I'd be happy adding to my position literally anywhere in this range between 100K and 93. I'll probably add. I'll obviously look for bounces, but when that bounce comes, when I start seeing buying continue here on the bin CVD, that's when I'll be placing my orders. Hope that helps you out, guys. Hope that gives you some insight. If you're interested in any of these tools, you'll find links in the description. If you want to join our community, got a free Telegram community, great insights, just a phenomenal trading community. No bullshit in there, no shillers, no moon boys, no garbage. Come join us. Links are in the description. Appreciate you following. If you haven't done so yet, make sure you like, share, and hit that subscribe button so you never miss another stream. Have a great rest of the week, guys.